morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. This is Debz Cooper, currently in Dunedin, New Zealand. So welcome to today's Facebook Live. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about embracing the self-sabotage, and this is a great one that I've really dug into this week, not only for myself, but also for people around me. So thanks for joining. Give me a like, a love, an emoji, a reaction. I forget what they're called, to let me know that you're on the call. Let me know where you're from, where you're calling in from. I'd love to know if you are a replay or if you're here live. Thank you for coming. So embracing the self-sabotage. Oh my gosh, when I started actually talking about this week with a couple of people, people were like, wow, self-sabotage. I do that all the time. I didn't even notice that it's actually self-sabotage. And then they were like, what is actually self-sabotage? So I dug into it further. Clearly, I looked at the dictionary because that seems to be my favorite thing. And just let me have a read of this here that says, deliberately destroying, damaging, or obstructing something, especially for political or military advantage. So deliberately destroying, damaging, or obstructing something, especially for political or military advantage. Now, when I went to political or military advantage, I'm like, gosh, I realize how much I self-sabotage in my world, with just simple things, not getting back to a client when I say I'm going to, or not replying to an email when I say I'm going to my team. Yeah, I'll get back to you with that answer, and I don't get it done. Or sometimes I know I'm going to go for a walk and I go, oh, I'm just going to sit here and do this instead. So that's all part of self-sabotage. And so for me, that's not a political or military advantage. It's just a disadvantage, I would say, on my angle in my world. So when I started looking into this further, it just became an alertness for clients around me. So your self-sabotage comes from your own personal worth. And this, when I talk about your worth, your worth comes about your memories that you're holding on to, clearly from the past, not from the future or present and past. It comes about from what people have said to you, or you've heard people say to other people, and what you've seen happen. So it's not just your senses with your ears, it's what you've seen happen with your eyes, of seeing things happen to people, and whether you've been involved or just been a witness in it, or things that haven't happened to people. So that's when I'm talking about your worth, and that's where your worth has come from, the people you hang around with, not just your social influences, but you can be sitting at the traffic lights and you can see something happen, or somebody says something, and so that's all part of your worth, of what you pull in that memory and you store into your body, mind, soul. So that's what I'm talking about, memory. So it may not necessarily be your social circle, but it could be your work circle or what you see out there. So our self-sabotage comes from when things are going well in our life, or things are ticking along, or there's no complications, or whatever you'd like to call it, just things are on track. Things are on track, and then suddenly, bam, something comes in and knocks you off your stool, your seat, your whatever you're sitting on, whatever you're standing on, knocks you off your feet. So then you start questioning yourself. And so when I say you question yourself, you say things like, am I worthy of getting this? And so when I started thinking about this, I started looking at jobs. Am I worthy of getting this job? Now, you could be self-employed, you could be a contractor, you could be working for someone, you could be going for a job interview. Am I actually worthy of getting this job? Could be a gift somebody has given you. This is all around your worth. Am I worthy of getting this gift? Am I worthy of getting the words they are saying to me? So sometimes people, when I say that, I'm talking about not necessarily the close people to you. You're in the supermarket, someone goes, that's an amazing top you've got on. I love that top. And you're like, oh, this old thing, gosh, this old thing I've had around for years, and you downplay it. So this is all part of your worth, instead of saying, thank you, I love this top too. and making that person feel better for actually passing on that compliment to you. So this is all around your worth. So am I worthy of getting this job, whatever it is? Am I worthy of this person in my world? So that could be a friend, that could be a client, a new client, an old client, a new partner, an old partner, potential partner, a swipe left, swipe right on Tinder, any of those things. Am I worthy of this person? And then it starts coming back and you start triggering things inside your mind of, am I worthy? So I'm just going to keep repeating this. So you're going to go, gosh, this is not just actually in the way I look. This is in the way I say things. This is in the way my finances sit in my world, when I have my physical appearance, going for a walk, how I interact with people. The other one that really came to me this week was actually quite an interesting one, is, am I worthy of this weight loss? And as I say that, I giggle because I go, most of us have been in isolation, lockdown, whatever you'd like to call it, and most people have put on weight. Some people haven't, just maybe potentially the ones I've been talking to. And so when I think about this, am I worthy of this weight loss? Am I worthy of actually doing something with my body? And so the big question here, out of the things I've just talked about then, is, am I worthy? And this is a great one for you to dig into, because this is the core around our self-sabotage, why we self-sabotage, why we continue to self-sabotage, why we continue to do things the way they do. So step one is acknowledgement. And when I say acknowledgement, it's actually, where did this question come from? Where did this question actually come from that's making you question, am I worthy? And then you're going to pull out that memory and look at that memory and unpack that memory like a present. You're going to unwrap it, you're going to unpack it, you're going to have a look at it, and you're going to really dig into that memory. Because our memories we store in our mind and within our body, are actually things that allow us to be in a future. And when I say in a future, like right now, what I'm storing right now in my memory, I'm then taking now to the future. So this is all just a few seconds later in my future. So it could also be a larger future around me, but I'm also just here a few seconds later as my future right now. So acknowledgement of, where did that question come from? And that's really important, to actually go, whoa, stop. I need to stop and reflect on this, and where did this question come from? Then you're going to pull out that memory that you've stored from yesterday, this morning, 5 minutes ago, 6 years ago, and I talked about having a job, am I worthy of this job? Go back to that time when you had that job, or you're going for a job interview and you maybe potentially stuffed up. You may have seen you stuffed up, or there's something you meant to say and you didn't say, or you said too much, or any of those things. So when you think about that, pull out that memory. And once you've got that memory, and this is one you're actually going to do to write down. You're not going to store this one in your head. You're going to write it down. So there's two things you're going to do from this once you have that memory. So acknowledgement, where did it come from? Pull out that memory. Okay, and I'm talking a little bit slower now for you, because and for you to actually do this right now. Just do those two. Okay, then you're going to go back to that memory, and you're going to go, how did that serve me back then? And when I say back then, when that memory happened, how did that serve me? How was that a benefit to me? How did that enhance my life? How did that help me at that time? What was that? How did that give me a leg up in something? So how did that serve you back then? So you're going to go back to that memory, and you're going to go, what's the benefit to that? How did that serve me? How did that enhance me? How did that give me a leg up? Whatever you'd like to label it as. How did that serve me back then? And you're going to write enough down of how that served you. And I'll give you an example soon. Enough down so that you can actually be free of that memory and not have it trapped in your mind that is going to tap into your self-sabotage. And so you may write 5 values, how it served you. You may write 10. You may write 20. You may write 50. You may write 100. And don't expect to sit down right here, right now, and start writing, because it may come to you freely. It may come to you a little bit more difficultly. Just let it be and let it flow. Don't put a time frame on this, and don't expect to do a certain amount until you can actually sit in your heart and feel comfortable with that action back then. How did that serve you when you pull out that memory? Then step 4 is, how did that serve others who may have been affected? How did that serve others? How is that a benefit to others? How did that enhance others' lives? Any of that stuff to back then, to those who it may have been affected by. So how did that serve those people? So I'm going to give you an example in a minute, so that's going to help you. But so that's all you're doing. That's just your 4 steps to embrace your self-sabotage, so it doesn't actually come in and creep into your world again. Does that make sense? Because if it doesn't, please let me know. So, for example, weight loss. Clearly, we've all been in isolation. This is always a fun one to have. So, I can never understand this whole side thingle here. Weight loss. So, weight loss is an interesting one. So you see the results of what you're doing. You might be exercising, you might be eating healthy, you might be doing certain things, you might be talking to somebody. You know, the whole weight loss is not just your body physically, but it's your energy, all those things. So you can see the results and you're starting to get excited and you're exercising. And then you remember you have potato chips in the cupboard, or chocolate, or alcohol, or whatever it is. And that creeps into your mind, and it creeps in and creeps in and creeps in, and it stays. And the reason it stays is because you haven't resolved the potato chips or the alcohol or the chocolate or whatever previously. You haven't resolved it. You've just started doing exercise and you're starting to feel better. So that self-sabotage is not actually about your weight loss. It's actually about your potato chips or your alcohol or your chocolate or whatever it is. So you do the exercise above that I just talked about on your potato chips. You don't do it on the weight loss. You don't do it on the exercise. You do it on the potato chips, because that's actually the memory that you're storing. So if we were to look at that, if we were to look at the potato chips, because clearly for those who know me, potato chips are my thing, and it's okay. Not that I had them a whole packet yesterday for dinner at all. Not at all. So, potato chips. So, we do the exercise above. And when I talk about the exercise, we talk about the mindset exercise, not the running exercise. So, how did it serve you is the awareness of craving. Step 1 is, for me, it allowed me to go, oh, there's a craving there. There's definitely an awareness of craving. Then I can look at, when does that craving come on? So this is, how did it serve me back then, or the benefits or the enhancing or anything. This is unpacking my mind. So when did that craving come on? What was going on with my energy? What was going on around me to have that craving? Can I replace that craving with anything? So can I replace it, so I go to what particularly it is that I'm craving for that? So is it the salt? Is it the crunch? Is it the having potato chips for dinner, the naughtiness in my mind? What particularly is going on there? And can I replace that with something? So it's just, these are the benefits or the values, or how it's serving me or how it's enhancing me. And what's really going on? So if my body's craving something like that, is it my mind that's taking over, or is it something physical in my body that I'm craving? So is it, if I'm craving the salt, is it anything to do with my iron? Is it anything to do with my kidneys? Is it something to do with what I'm drinking? Is it something to do with fresh air? Is there something I, would be wise to look at in my nutrition? So this is the things that I did when I started looking at my potato chips, of my self-sabotage, if I call it self-sabotage, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I came in with those. Then there's clearly, I'm going to do a lot more. But they were just a few that I came to around my potato chips of that memory of when it came back to me. So there was another one that I talked about with a client this week, and it was quite funny. They've got a new boyfriend in their life. She's very excited. She's super, super, super excited. She's got a new boyfriend, and she says, I always get a bad boy. I'm always out for the bad boys. I want the bad boys. What's a bad boy? you know, and this is where I'm at. So first we had to define what actually is a bad boy, because this was her self-sabotage that she's not getting a nice boy. So we, without disclosing too much, we broke down what bad boy actually meant. We defined bad boy until we broke it down, and then we were laughing, going, and that's a bad boy. That's what she defined as a bad boy, which I'm not going to discover, because then I'm going to give you bad boy ideas. So we broke down to what is a bad boy. Then we did the exercise above. How did that serve back then? And how did that serve others who may be affected? So when we did that, how did it serve back then? It was quite interesting, because she realized it was about that she got really clear on a new partner. Now, just for the record, she's not with a bad boy. Right now, she's actually not with a bad boy. She's with a good boy. If we go good, bad, or we break it down, she's actually with a boy who wants to be with her. So we got clear on what her new partner was all about. We actually got clear without looking at him. We actually got clear on what she wants in a new partner. And he stacks up all those things. She decided that from when we went back to that memory of having the bad boys, she decided she didn't want to rush and get the right person right now. So it wasn't about rushing to go, I need to get the next jump out there. It was about getting, deciding to not rush and get the right person on her train. Trying to filter through this memory conversation that I had. One of the other things is she realized back then she split her time between her partner, her bad boy partner, and her friends because they didn't get along. So the greatness of that, the benefit to that, the value to that was she actually got different conversations, and she got to not have to pretend to be somebody in another area, because she actually became real with her friends, but she was a little bit eggshelly with her partner. So that. So there was lots of things that came out of that, but they were just a few things that made me laugh with that. So we know the exercise above. Where did it come from? It's acknowledgement. Pull out that memory. How did it serve you back then? And how did it serve others that may be affected? So when you're present to things in the acknowledgement and you can see things, things open up for you more. And that's really important to know, because if you're not present to things opening up around you, you're going to be closed off. You're not going to get these opportunities of what you have. So when I say embrace the self-sabotage, I'm truly meaning embrace the self-sabotage. Love the self-sabotage. Love that it comes in and gives you awareness. Love that it comes in and gives you things to think of and be present and learn and educate yourself on, because self-sabotage is actually a thing that stops you to get present on who you are and what your expectations are around you. So totally embrace that self-sabotage. Stop beating yourself up over that. So today I'm going to carry on with my day. Might have potato chips, might not. Possibly won't. I'll possibly find something else as I go through a long list of things that I'm going to be working on my self-sabotage. So thanks so much, people. I enjoyed being on this call today. If you've got any questions, let me know. If it's anything you'd love me to address, that would be awesome. Thank you, and I will see you next time. Bye. Embracing that self-sabotage.